How America became the world's business powerhouse. It's the land of Apple, Amazon, and Wall Street. It's where the internet was born and where the world parks its money. But how did a former colony of farmers and rebels become the ultimate business machine, generating a quarter of the entire planet's economic output, hosting 7 of the world's 10 most valuable companies, and drawing the smartest minds from every corner of the earth? This isn't just luck. It's a series of powerful forces that ignited a commercial supernova. Here is the real story of how America became the powerhouse of business. The geographic lottery. Before any law, any invention, any corporation, there was the land itself. The United States is a giant protected by 2 massive oceans, crisscrossed by more navigable rivers than the rest of the world combined. The Mississippi alone is an inland superhighway connecting the grain belt to the Gulf of Mexico. And beneath the soil, endless reserves of oil, natural gas, iron ore, and the rarest resource of all, huge swaths of temperate, flat, arable land. No other nation on the earth has this combination of geographic wealth, natural defensive barriers, and a built-in internal waterway system. The stage was set. The unique political and legal blueprint. But geography alone doesn't build businesses. The real engine was a radical legal framework. From the very beginning, the US Constitution created something unprecedented: the world's largest single frictionless market. One clause, the Commerce Clause, made the entire continent a free trade zone. No tariffs between states, no internal border taxes. Goods, people, and money flow 3,000 miles as if it's one country, because it is. On top of that, America invented a patent system that was designed not for aristocrats, but for the common man. For the first time, an ideal had legal protection he could take to the bank. Add to this ironclad property rights and contract law enforced by courts, and you had a legal environment where risk-taking was actually rewarded. The rule of law was the operating system, and business was the app. The Industrial Revolution and mass production. By the late 19th century, the engine roared to life. The transcontinental railroad stitched the coasts together, creating a national market for the first time. Then came the management revolution. America didn't just invent new things, they invented new ways to make things at an inhuman scale. Henry Ford didn't invent the car, he invented the assembly line, driving production speed through the roof while collapsing costs. Andrew Carnegie scaled steel production using vertical integration, owning the mines, the ships, and the mills. John D. Rockefeller ruthlessly perfected horizontal integration and logistics, giving the world cheap kerosene. This was the birth of the modern corporation, massive, professionally managed, and ruthlessly efficient. By the early 20th century, America had already become the largest industrial producer on the planet, churning out more steel, oil, and goods than any rival. The world wars and the dollar's crown. Then the world caught fire, and America's oceans made all the difference. While Europe and Asia were bombed to rubbles into world wars, the American industrial base sat untouched, and it became the arsenal of democracy. The US outproduced the entire Axis powers combined, building a manufacturing colossus that, in 1944, created 50% of the entire world's industrial output. But the real victory was financial. At Bretton Woods in 1944, the US dollar was anchored to gold, and every other currency was anchored to the dollar, making it the world's reserve currency. From that moment on, the global economy ran on dollars. When a Korean shipping company buys oil from Saudi Arabia, they use dollars. Central banks everywhere stockpile dollars. This gives the US a permanent, massive economic advantage, endless demand for its debt, and a currency that acts like a global subsidy. The dollar is America's most lethal business weapon, the innovation factory and brain magnet. Post-war, America locked in its next 100-year led by building the world's first true innovation factory. The government pumped colossal sums of money into basic research. Military funding gave us the internet, GPS, semiconductors, and touch screens. Then it handed this technology off to private entrepreneurs for free. This marriage of public-funded R&D and private sector venture capital created Silicon Valley, a place with unique culture where failure is a badge of honor and bankruptcy law lets you try again. And here is a secret weapon the world's most ambitious minds all want to be there. America's top-tier university system acts as a global brain magnet. A huge percentage of billion-dollar US startups were founded by immigrants. The US doesn't just build its own talent, it empowers and multiplies the world's talents. convincing the brightest engineers from India, China, and Europe to build the future under the American flag. Wall Street and the consumer culture. You can invent anything, but you need capital to scale, and no country can match the depth of American capital markets. Wall Street and the venture capital ecosystem allow an ideal sketched in a garage to become a global giant in a decade. The sheer speed at which money can find a good idea in America is unmatched. Finally, there is the demand side. America invented modern consumer culture and then exported it. Brands like Coca-Cola, Levi's, and Hollywood didn't just sell products. They sold an aspirational lifestyle. And America itself is a vast, uniform consumer testing ground. If you make it here, you can make it anywhere. The combination of being the world's largest consumer market and the world's loudest cultural exporter created a self-reinforcing loop of soft power and corporate dominance. There is no single reason America became the business capital of the world. It was a rare historical cocktail. A generous geography, a legal system designed for commerce, a single continent-wide market, a global currency crown won through war, an innovation ecosystem that harnesses immigration and government research, and deep liquid pools of capital.